take that first.
All right, it's an away day. Audible, Joe. Dolphins getting ready to pack up the bus, head out on the plane, head to Kansas City. A little early trip out there, a little 2-day trip out to Kansas City before Sunday's game. And Joe, these games, I know a lot of people look, the season's over, games aren't important. Mathematically, the season is not over, but for all intents and purposes, the Dolphins' chance, said something the other day, the only way the Dolphins make the playoffs is if the West Coast falls off the face of the map.
Right.
And you lose
right.
half of the teams or something.
Never good, Bo, when you got to, you need 4 or 5 different scenarios to play out, and they're all other teams have to beat other teams for you to stay alive. And oh, yeah, by the way, the Dolphins have to beat Kansas City and Kansas City.
And then Buffalo come back and beat Buffalo and everyone else.
That's right.
But you know what? Look, and Adam Gase has said it, and Joe, anybody that's in this league knows it, especially anybody in the league that's a fringe player. And I talk about fringe players. I talk about not Cam Wake, not Ndamukong Suh, not
Rashad Jones, not guys
not
like
Rashad
that.
Jones. Right. Jarvis Landry.
Not worried about those
anybody
guys.
That's those guys.
Right.
Anybody other than those guys, though, these games are all about, you know what, my job's on the line. Right. You got to be thinking, hey, look, the chances are we're making the playoffs not so good right now. I've been up and down all season long. I got 2 more games to put it on the tape, so that they can see that I'm still playing hard, this still means something to me. And it's unfortunate to be in a situation where that's what matters about your football games, but that's where they're at, Joe.
Bo, there's a few different ways to look at this, and we talked about it this morning too, all right, so what's this important for? Well, the young guys want to show that they can play at a high level. I look at that, and there's a couple guys, I don't know about you, Bo, but I want to get a look at a couple more guys on the team, especially on the defensive side. Cameron Malveaux.
Yes.
That guy jumps out he's teased you just enough coming in off the practice squad.
He played well a couple weeks ago.
Hey, Cameron, you keep this up, man. All right, you'll be in our rotation next year. Plus, he's getting experience, Bo. He doesn't have to go from practice squad to next year. He's getting snaps that count against guys that are playing, opponents that are playing right now.
Thomas Duarte. You put a tight end on the injured reserve list. Julius Thomas.
Cordray Tankersley. I still want to see him play.
Cordray's another guy, and Joe, another guy that it depends on what's going on. I think with the 2 games left, if I'm the coaching staff, I want to see Isaac Asiata out there a little bit. I want to see him in game situations, see how he holds up. I think he's been activated maybe 1 game all season.
No, Bo, I don't know.
And there's a question about the question lies, do you put him in there and put your quarterback at risk if he's not willing and not able to do the job? But, Joe, you'd like to know going into the offseason, see him in some game situations and say he's a thumbs up guy, he's a thumbs sideways guy, he's a thumbs down guy. That's where the situation is right now.
I don't know if that's going to happen because
I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just saying something. If I was a guy, I would like to see it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you look at the backup tackles right now, Godchow and Taylor.
Yep.
Those guys this is a great opportunity. They're going to play. And by the way,
Kid Smith is they activated him off the injured reserve. He's another big guy that they like. He may see a couple snaps in there.
Bo, I just look at this and I don't know if I need to see Cam Wake 60 plays, take less plays, let some of the young guys, maybe even Ndamukong Suh, doesn't have to take as many snaps so we can play some other guys to make sure. And I'm not saying take all the snaps. Don't read into it like all of a sudden I'm mentioning any of those guys. But it is a great opportunity to see how these young guys play in the last couple games against teams playing for the playoffs.
You look at the defensive front, Joe. That defensive line, they've rotated that group around in a lot of different ways. They played Ndamukong at defensive end. They've had Branchy inside. They've done a lot of different combinations during the course of games with that defensive front. So and there have been a lot of times where Cam and Ndamukong have been standing on the sideline while guys. So it's not unusual for them not to play. But like the guys like Malveaux in that, and continue giving Charles Harris as many snaps as you can. Those guys, because you got to start peaking towards next year, and that's that's certainly part of what the culture is in the NFL in this situation. Is start peaking ahead to next year, start your scouting report on your own guys right now, rather than wait until the off season.
Well, there was a time last week against Buffalo. I saw Malvo, Vincent Taylor, Gottschall, and Harris out there. All 4 rookies, right? 3 drafted guys and a rookie free agent were playing together. So that's a good sign for that standpoint, and that experience is important. So I also think he can play some veteran guys and see if he's seeing a heart in this game, right, Bo?
Yeah, well, look, that's
play hard, man.
That's the other side of it. You want to see him. Yeah, he's getting paid. They pay you to play 16 games. We got 2 more games left. I want to see you play, and I want to see you play as hard as. And look, Joe, I would expect watching this football team all year long, Joe, getting to know some of these guys, getting to know what they're about. I don't look at any starter on this football team right now and say, geez, I'm a little concerned that guy's not going to go out and play 100%. Because, look, I've said it a number of times, and I've said it to people, and they kind of go, you're an idiot, which I am. But people kind of
sometimes,
people remind me of that all the time. But I say, look, the one thing you can't take away from this football team is they've given effort all year long.
Yes.
I mean, even last week's game in Buffalo, you're fighting an uphill battle. Joe, it seemed like all day long you're climbing up the hill in Buffalo. Then you get to the end, you get an onside kick, make a play, who knows? And you don't get to that onside kick, Joe, unless guys are playing hard in the second half of that football game. So I don't think that's an issue, but it is a little bit of a measuring stick now. When it looks like playoff hopes are out of the picture. Now let's see how these guys play.
All right, so I agree with you and Bo, because sometimes bad football looks like they're not trying. That's not these guys did not quit on this team. But the turnovers, the penalties, the bad tackling. We had mental assignments from time to time. That stuff is all part of the plan too, man. Bo, we got to see that. You got to play, man. You got to have guys you can trust. Won't do stupid things and do it the right way.
And look, that's certainly stuff that's got to be worked over in the next couple of games and the entire offseason. Well, let's go ahead and get some of these questions on, and we'll get back to just some jump shot. Tommy Clogs, what do you think? Who do you think will step up at tight end with Julius Thomas and IR? Joe, I'm a big Anthony Fasano guy. They've thrown him the ball maybe 4 times this year, caught every ball, doesn't leave a ball on the ground, blocks for you. I'm not saying he's only played 4 times a year. They're only throwing the ball to him a limited amount of time. But I wouldn't mind seeing him getting the ball. And I love Marquise Gray. I love Marquise Gray.
Boy,
I'd like to see him with Julius Thomas on IR now. I'd like to see a lot of Marquise Gray in the last couple games.
The third tight end, and by the way, he's added something else in case you haven't noticed, playing fullback, short yardage, been getting first downs for you and stuff. Look for A.J. Derby to play a lot this week. I think A.J. Derby's going to pick up and get some snaps. A guy they signed from Denver that's been out there, actually had some decent numbers, was cut because of an injury. I think they're going to give him a look. And then Thomas Duarte.
I think you got to give him some snaps. You got to see what he's all about.
I wonder how that will work and if they can sign those guys because injuries at some other positions. Can they play them all and make them active?
I don't know. We'll see. But I'm with I'm a Marquise Gray. I've liked him since he's been here, and throwing the ball 8-10 times for me, as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't mind seeing just how he reacts. Facebook question from Michael Harrison. We need a consistent middle linebacker. Kiko's okay, but he needs to be better in coverage and tackling. Well, if you haven't noticed, Kiko's been playing outside linebacker all year long, but just to, not for nothing, but just kind of to get that out there while we're talking just between us. He played middle linebacker last year. I think Kiko, but I think Kiko.
You're a bad guy.
What?
You're a bad guy.
But I think Kiko probably would like to play. I think he was pretty comfortable.
I think Kiko played better at middle linebacker than he's played it outside.
I think he was more comfortable in there at middle linebacker, and that may be a situation that this team needs to look at because he's going to be here again next year. You got Raekwon McMillan coming back, and Raekwon. Can you make Raekwon an outside guy? And then you got to look over at Lawrence Timmons. What's the future for Lawrence Timmons here? And so there's a lot of to me when you look on the defensive side of the football, Joe, the biggest question marks are at that linebacker position, which is very similar to where we were last year. Going into the offseason, wondering what was going to happen with the linebacker position.
Bo, covering tight ends. That sounds like a broken record. Covering tight ends, and also.
Oh, by the way, Travis Kelce this Sunday too.
And you're going to get isolated with running backs one-on-one. They're going to do that. They're going to put you in a situation on early downs where linebackers have to cover some of these backs like we saw with McCoy last week. That's a tough cover.
Yep.
Tough cover.
So, yeah. So that, Kiko, I think Kiko will be back. And look, Joe and I were talking about this driving over here today. You know, I know he's had a tendency to not wrap up his tackles. I don't know if that has something to do with breaking his thumb last year or what, but it's certainly something that, because there was a couple plays last week where he kind of threw the shoulder in there and the guy bounced off him. And
wrapping.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, look, it's nice to get the big hit, but,
I make sure they're on the ground.
You got to make sure they're down. El Chapo Jr. digging out of the hole again. When's the last time you guys been to Kansas City? What's your favorite memory? We were there about, I don't know how many years ago, Joe, we were there.
It was cold.
But it was freaking cold. Coldest football game I've ever been at in my life was in Kansas City.
I would agree. I don't know what the temperature was, but on the sideline doing shows a couple hours before, the coldest place I've ever been. We caught a cold front, a serious one.
My favorite memory of Kansas City?
Getting on the plane coming home.
No. My favorite memory of Kansas City, and it'll always be one of my favorites. We're playing the Chiefs up there. We had just signed Lyle Blackwood. Right?
Oh, yeah.
We had just signed
is the best.
We had just signed Lyle Blackwood. Lyle Blackwood, Glenn Blackwood's brother, And at the time, Lyle had been in the NFL for years and years. He had played for New York Giants, for Seattle, for Colts. Cincinnati, for the Colts. He had made the trip. Yeah. He'd made the trip around the league and kind of in his waning years as a safety. And we pick him up, and I remember Glenn and I having a talk with him in the lunchroom at down at St. Thomas and saying, "Hey Lyle, now just want you to know this Coach Shula, he's a different guy on the sideline, man. He'll get in your face. He gets a little agitated out there game days." And I'm, "Hey man, I've played for every coach in this league. I've been around Ken Patera, Paul Brown. I've seen them all. Nothing's going to surprise me." Okay, we just want to give you a heads up, So we go to Kansas City. We're playing. It was his first or second game down here on the road. They're driving down the field on us and beating our ass, driving down the field on us, and all of a sudden we get a quick change where we're going to a goal line, right? And guys are coming and guys are going, and guys are coming and guys are going. Some guy comes in because someone else got hurt, and Lyle comes running off the field, and all of a sudden Lyle's standing on the sideline, he's standing right next to Coach Shula. And Coach Shula says, "God damn, we only got 10 players in the field." And as soon as he said that, they snapped the ball. And the quarterback, I forget who the quarterback was, Dave Craig or one of these guys. I forget whoever it was. Corner. Tight end, bow out, right? Boom.
Nobody around
pitch and catch, no one around. He goes, "God damn it. Whose man was that? Who had the tight end?" And Lyle goes, "Coach, that was my man." And he's standing right by Coach Shula. Meanwhile, they kick the extra point. We come run off the field. Glenn and I walk by, and Shula is up one side and down the other side of Lyle Blackwood. Up one side, down the other. And Glenn and I now, we're just sitting on the bench. We're kind of laughing a little bit,
Right.
Because we said, well, you knew he was going to get it. You knew it was going to happen.
One of the funniest things of all time.
So Lyle turns around, comes over to us. He's got tears coming down his eyes. He goes, you won't believe what he said to me. You don't believe the things he called me. You won't believe it. We just go, "Wow, we tried to tell you, man. We tried to tell you, but you've seen it all, right?"
That is the
We're
best.
Laughing. He's crying.
It's the only time, Bo.
But now 2 series later, they're going the same way. Throw the ball downfield, far corner of the field. We're on that sideline, far corner of the field. Throws the ball up. Lyle intercepts the ball, right? Picks the ball up. On a dead sprint, runs straight over to our sideline as fast as he could, make a beeline, makes a beeline to Coach Shula, gets in front of him, takes the ball, bam! Spikes the ball right at his feet and just goes running by. That was my favorite memory of Kansas City.
That's not even, you're right. As soon as you said that from a game going back, it's the only time I was standing behind it, just waiting to see when special teams and stuff, and I'll never forget. The guy's wide open, and I knew we were a guy short, and Shula goes, "Whose friggin' man is that?" But obviously a lot more agitated. And Lyle Blackwood going, "That was mine." Standing right next to him. And that was like, and Shula's a little crazy on the sideline. Bo's being nice. He was nuts. And he said things to you and about you. And then they were done, but sometimes they hurt for a while, man.
No doubt.
Yeah, that was crazy. God, what a great story. The best. Lyle Blackwood.
But I tell you this, Kansas City to me, I love Kansas City. I love their uniforms. I grew up liking Kansas City. I like Hank Stram and the whole Kansas City. Yeah, they
Otis
were a good.
Taylor,
they were a great team. Lenny Dawson, Ed Podolak, Otis Taylor was their wide receiver.
Right.
Willie Ernie Ladd, they had Willie Lanier. They had an awesome football team.
Big Buchanan up there, man. They had some great players. Wow.
And their stadium is awesome. It's one of the oldest stadiums in the National Football League, but they keep that thing in such good shape. It's pristine.
Make it loud.
They got the Royal Stadium right next door. Right. We haven't been there since. I know they put some money in and redid like the whole concourse area, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. But I actually like Kansas City, other than the fact it was freaking cold as shit the last time.
Which, by the way, it's going to be a little cold Sunday too.
Yeah, I know. But I looked at the temperature today. There's a chance it might creep to 30. But that's what they're saying in Buffalo last week, and it never did get to 30. I think it got about 28, Joe, and then nosedive back down on me.
Wow.
Hey, Bo, Jay is saying he wants to play another year. Any chance he will stay with the Finns? That's coming from Thalius 215. Joe and I were just talking about it. I don't know if Jay wants to come back. He's certainly not going to come back at $10 million. I think the number coming back for him, Joe, it's somewhere between $4 and $6 million. I think $6 million, maybe 4 or 5, somewhere around there. I don't think they pay any more for Jay coming back other than that, because you got a big number coming back with Ryan Tannehill.
Correct.
And my guess would be they rework Tannehill's contract, and if they bring Jay Cutler back, they do something. But that creates a couple questions there, Joe. Is Jay going to be willing to be the backup? Do you throw it out as a quarterback competition, up for grabs for anybody? And what does that do to the psyche of Ryan Tannehill after coming back from a knee injury? And what happens if it's either Ryan or it's Jay in the first game, whoever's that starter, throws an interception, and it's, hey, get Jay in there. Hey, get Ryan in there. That's a sticky situation that you put out there in that case.
Well, I'll give you another one. I mean, if you're Ryan, you're sitting there going, well, we know Jay and Adam are really close.
Yep.
And I just don't know. And honestly, the chemistry with Matt Moore and either Ryan and Matt Moore and Jay is so good. Matt Moore is like the greatest thing. Like when they put great chemistry, they should put a picture of Matt Moore because he's great with everybody on that team. I don't know what the chemistry would be like with Jay and Ryan.
The question being, the other thing is, if you do bring back Jay, you got Ryan, you got Jay, you got Matt, you got Foles, you got Dowdy. Who are the odd men out in that thing? Ooh. I think Matt certainly becomes an odd guy out, because you're not going to pay Matt another
a third guy to be that many years in the league. It's got to be a young guy.
I think Fales is out because he can't be on the practice squad, and that's what hindered him this year and kept him off the roster until late in the season. And Dowdy, 2 years on the practice squad and hasn't been able to crack that third spot, makes you wonder if maybe they've seen enough of him. I don't know. So it creates a whole lot of different scenarios as to who's going to make up your quarterback room and who's going to be that third guy that's going to be inactive. The other thing is, Joe, we've talked about it a number of times in these shows, is, it probably is a time now for the Dolphins to look in that draft and draft another quarterback.
Totally agree.
So there's that position right now, Joe, has so many different scenarios going to it that it's hard to put your finger on it right now.
Well, I will say this. I don't know what's going to happen, but Ryan Tannehill, I would be willing to bet right now is a starting quarterback coming back.
I would be.
And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I would say that too. I would say that too. And so if Ryan's your guy, do you want a guy like Jay peeking over his shoulder?
He's been a starter his whole career. Never done the backup thing.
Yep.
So
look. Fortunately, you and I don't have to make those decisions.
Unless the guys making the big bucks. Unless they want
to pay me. How much are they paying the guys to make the big bucks up there?
They're all 7-figure salaries.
So, unless they want to up me to about $7 million.
They're all good ones.
I can just throw bullshit opinions out here and it doesn't matter.
Well, listen, those are all really good jobs. They all pay well, but like you said, there's a lot of shit to them too, man. No question.
Black Man Game. My man coming back. Do you guys think we need to get a lockdown corner? Look, I think over the last couple of weeks with Xavier, I think it's pretty safe to say he's your number one guy on one side out there.
The question is Tankersley, is he a frontline corner or not?
Or a nickel
I tell you, Bobby McCain at nickel has taken his game from here to here. Bobby McCain has made one of the biggest jumps from last year to this year of anybody on this team.
And to the point, Joe, where you talk about Tank, Bobby's played well on the outside.
Yes, he has.
Played outside as a corner guy. I know when they'll bring in Werner, they'll put him inside because he's more comfortable inside. But I think he showed his value as a cornerback too. So I think you got X on one side, you got Rashad, you got TJ, and then on that left side it's going to be Tank, it's going to be McCain, it's going to be Tony Lippett coming back, all battling for that spot back there, for that other spot over there. And maybe a winner take all. And look, who knows? I don't know that they need to go and look for or draft another cornerback. I'm not saying that they won't. I'm not saying it's something to think about. But I think you've got those guys battling out that gives you some. Yeah, they give you that and a little depth. If Lippett can bounce back.
Here's the problem you have, because everybody calls in and say, "Hey, we need this, we need that." You're right. We do need to upgrade some positions, which is always ongoing. I think we still need an offensive lineman. I think we need a tight end.
Yep.
I think you need an outside linebacker. Yeah. So these all fall into place, and then you add a corner and stuff, and you're going, ooh, now you're getting lower in the draft bowl, making it a lot more difficult. Then you got to go to free agency as your backup plan.
Yep. So, look, it's going to be every offseason turns into interesting scenarios, and this will be no different for the Dolphins. And you know what? Look, it'll be no different for the New England Patriots. It's going to be no different for
everybody.
For Denver, it's going to be no different for Philadelphia. Everyone's kind of in that. I got this good team right now, but in the offseason, maybe that, maybe this. You tweak and you poke and you do this and that. Christopher Dunkley from Facebook. Mo, do you think Gaze will experiment and not be so conservative and run a bit more with packages for players like Grant? Well, look, he's thrown Grant in the mix for the last couple of weeks. So obviously Jakeem has a spot in there. I'd like to see Gray get a little more part of, be a little more of the passing game since you've got your other tight end that's on IR now,
Julius Thomas.
Thomas.
Yep.
And look, I think they've got to run. I think for Coach Gaze to open his playbook, Joe, they've got to be successful running the football.
Agree.
I think that's kind of the spring to his offense that allows him to do different things back there.
I do like our speed package is part of that question, though. Grant in there, with Drake in there, with Kenny Stills in there.
And Devontae.
I don't
know if Devontae's going to play.
That's a pretty good. Yeah, they're hoping he'll play in this game. But given that added guy mismatch to run takeoffs, Jakeem Grant's shown it.
Yeah, I like him back there.
He can do some things, man.
I like him back there. Guy goes. He made a hell of a catch going up after the ball, making the catch in the end zone.
He drops a takeoff, but the fact that he got separation against one of the better corners in the league, the way he ran away from him, and got us all a little excited.
So the other thing I liked last week up in Buffalo, he caught the ball in traffic and still found a way to make yards with his quickness and his ability to move laterally. So I like seeing Grant in there. He's a guy that can give you big play opportunities.
He's a tough cookie, man.
And so
tough.
He is. Chilltown Auto from Periscope. Who do you think the tight ends? Why do you think the tight ends haven't played a bigger role in the offense? Well, I think Julius Thomas. I think if you talk to Adam Gase, he's happy with Julius Thomas, and I think Julius has become more. Been as the season's gone along, he's become more active in the offense. They've thrown the ball to him more. I'd like to see his route running be a little better. I'd like to see him be a little bit more physical out there. But he's gotten his opportunities.
Well, he's on IR, so we won't have to worry about that. He's been flexed out and had a ton of opportunities down in the goal line, all over. They flex him out. They go trips the other way with all three wide receivers, and we just haven't gotten the production on when he's flexed out that they're expecting. It's not taking shots at anybody. I keep saying this, the Julius Thomas that we see and the Julius Thomas that we saw in Denver when he was playing, not the same guy right now.
Yep. Facebook, Cap D. James. Will Drake be our main back moving forward in the next season? Is he our answer at running back? I don't think there's any question about that. He'll be the number one guy coming in. Yes. You're hoping that Damian Williams comes back healthy. He's ready to come back and compete. So got Sonoris Perry back there. And then I think there'll be a stable of running backs that come in.
Yeah. They're going to
they'll bring a handful of guys
bring in a bunch.
See what they got out there. But I think there's no question. Look, with Kenyon Drake, with his ability to break the big play, I think with his ability, what he's shown in his ability to get that tough yardage, that 2, 3, 4 yards. What he needs to get better at is not getting the -4, -3, -1. those carries that really put really hamstring your offense when you do that on first down.
Bo, he went even against Buffalo. He goes 31 yards. Yep. He bounced outside and just outruns the corner. Yep. We've seen that now a couple weeks in a row where they think they've got him and they don't realize how fast he is. Most of the big plays we have in this offense in a short period of time have come from Kenyon Drake. The big thing now, can you stay healthy the next 2 games?
Yep.
I think he's really good.
Yeah, I do too. I'm very happy with him. It's been a long time since we've had a back with that kind of speed,
right,
that any time he touches it, he can take it to the house.
And just as good as a pass receiver.
Yep.
The way he's caught the ball. Wow.
Periscope, Trevon McCoy. You guys think Asiata will see the field at all this season? I'd like to see him on the field. The question is, do the coaches want to see him on the field with their quarterback standing behind him?
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard for me to imagine a guy that doesn't even suit up all of a sudden gets a chance to play. That'd be quite a jump late in the year.
I just think for me, chance to stick him out there in game time action. Because, Joe, we've seen him in preseason games. He's been working on the side. He's been doing all the work he needs during practices. But I wouldn't mind seeing a couple series out of him just to kind of see what he's all about. But that's me. And look, I'm not the quarterback, so I don't really.
He's not hitting me. Not a 300-pounder hitting me.
I think he needs an off season to get a little stronger and work on some things. But I wouldn't mind seeing him a little bit. It's funny. Every time I think of that, I think of Don Strock. And I'm not. This isn't a shot at Asiata, but Don Strock, because Don was always the third string quarterback.
Oh yeah, we played in those preseason games together. Yeah.
And I remember I remember the preseason games. Remember we'd be at St. Thomas. We'd have our pregame meal in the lunchroom there. And then Coach Shule would get up and you break into your individual groups. Your individual groups would then tell you, hey, you're only going to play 2 series or this or that. And I'd always try to catch up with Don Strock walking out the door because the first thing he did was light up a cigarette, and you look over and goes, Jesus Christ, you see those misfits I got to line up against tonight? Because he's playing a preseason game, early preseason games. He's playing in the fourth quarter with these guys that are there. They even got a shot about making a team. And he's looking and going, geez, look at these misfits I got.
What play can I run that's going to give me a chance to be productive and not get hurt?
Exactly.
Right. Crazy.
I don't know.
That is good.
I don't know. I got it now. Light on the dome. Who's scoring the first touchdown for the Dolphins against the Chiefs? I'm going to go with our man Kenyon Drake. I'm calling for another running touchdown for Kenyon Drake, and I think he breaks a long one for us.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to go Devontae Parker.
There you go.
Boy, Devontae, you teased us again last week.
Yep.
You went through a 3-game drought, and then last week had a little jump. Now, I'm talking about a guy that's injured. We don't even know if he's going to play, so I'm really sticking my neck out there.
So I got Drake. He's got Parker. Parker.
Now, do I get a backup if he doesn't suit up?
Yeah, let's go for a number. So he doesn't suit up, then who do you go with? I'll give you. We'll go 2. We'll go 2 deep. I got Kenyon 1. I'm going to go with Jarvis 2. That's the easy one.
I'm going to go Marquise Gray on
there
short
you go.
yardage.
I like you on that one.
Marquise Gray, short yardage out of the fullback position. Gets it on a quick handoff up the middle. Nobody stopped him from the 1.
What I like to see is Dolphins scoring the first touchdown of the game.
That would be nice.
Period.
Instead of a field goal or nothing.
Periscope, nice. Courtney NJ11. In one word, Joe, one word, how would you describe our season?
Mediocre.
I'd say inconsistent. Seen some good, seen some bad. It's been a roller coaster.
I started to say roller coaster.
Inconsistent, but that's 2 words.
Going to Orlando.
That's 2 words, though. Yeah. 2 words. You going to Orlando? You going to Disney World after this is over with?
I might go. Yeah, go for a couple days.
I like going up to the D World.
I live in that world anyway half the time.
We got a cruise we're going on. When's the cruise we're going on?
I don't know, man. When is it? That's March.
Is it March? Ooh. You going?
Yeah, I'm going. You're going, I'm going.
I'm going.
You going by yourself?
I am going solo. It's a solo show. Yeah, I won't. There'll be other people. There'll be other people.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
There'll be other people on the ship, Joe. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Huh? Not all going to be guys on the ship, right?
No. They're going to be a lot of people. We stop at
I'm not looking for nothing.
Different locations.
I'm not looking for nothing, just a little conversation. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, right.
That's all I'm looking for.
A little cuddling, a little conversation.
No, just conversation.
All right.
Who knows where it goes from there. Facebook, Julie Mar Ortiz. Are you guys surprised that Jones was the only Pro Bowl? Yes, I was. I thought Sue was a guy that deserved an opportunity, and I'm a Jarvis guy too. Jarvis with a number of catches, and I think the probably thing that keeps Jarvis back is yards per catch.
6-8 record, I thought hurts, because those guys are all obviously deserving. I think Ndamukong Suh has had a really good year, even though it doesn't show in the sacks that some of the other tackles have, 6, 7, 8. But yeah, Ndamukong Suh, especially game he's coming off of, he was really good against the Buffalo Bills last week.
I'm with you. Those guys, I think those guys were deserving. But hey,
6 and 8.
6 and 8 is, whenever you have a losing record, it drags your Pro Bowl numbers down. All right, Joe, real quick. Keys to the game. Your quick key. Give him one key to the game.
No turnovers.
Okay. My key, get off to a fast start. Man. Don't play behind. If you can get ahead by 10 points, pin your guys' ears back, then we get the turnovers, we get the sacks, and I think that's how we win.
This offense cannot turn the ball over. 3 times last week, including back-to-back possessions, cannot turn the ball over. 26 on the season, man. Way too many. Stop. None against New England.
CBS 4, 1 o'clock. You can watch the game. You can hear it on 560 WQM. You can hear Joe, Jimmy, Grease, myself, and you can hear it on 99.9 KISS FM. Those are the places to listen and watch the game. Check it out, and we'll catch up with you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Merry Christmas to everybody out there.